Jermain Defoe, thank you for speaking to talkSPORT. Do you know what one crazy thing? Like we have conversations as football fans, and you always get these like pub questions, and I never realised that you have the record for the most goals off the bench.
Yeah, but I started because I spoke about that before actually. So because I came through at West Ham really young, and I was sort of like I'd say I was managing the right way, because I think a lot of players come through and they like play every game. But I was sort of like managed. Glenn Roeder and Harry managed me. Like, I'll come in and I'll play 2 games and I'll be on the bench for 3 games. And then so, but even when I was on the bench, I always thought that when I come on, I could still score. So at the end of the season, when you look at the top goal scorers, like whether that's the league or at the club, I always wanted to be like sort of like up there with the top goal scorers and that, because I knew that even coming off the bench, I still can get good numbers.
So obviously you've got that record, but do you reckon Mr. Redknapp would probably say that's thanks to him as well?
Yeah, but do you know what? I think as far as that, Solskjaer had one as well, didn't he? Solskjaer was like, Giroud and or something like that and that. But I don't think it's something that you really think about. I think for players, especially forward players, if you come on, you're coming on to make an impact and try and change the game. So that was always my mentality, really. I always sort of like, I'd sit on the bench, but I'd watch the game. And I think, right, if I come on, I can sort of like impact the game in this way or that way. So yeah. But like I said, because I came through so young and that, and a lot of times at West Ham, I wouldn't start every game, but I'd still come on, and I was lucky that I still come on. And
we always like quite raw coming off the bench as well. You're always like high energy. And it's like, I can imagine centre halves seeing you come on, even as a young lad. You had so much fire in your belly.
Yeah, but you should do that. I think when you come on, regardless of how old you are, like you come on and you try and make an impact. That's why you're coming on, especially towards the end of games where maybe, the other team's tired or the centre backs or whatever. You come on and you wait for your chance. It's not easy, but you wait for your chance and you have to take it. So yeah.
Spurs, your former club, clinical strikers over the years. You look at yourself, Darren Bent for a period, Harry Kane. What do you think the issue is there? Do you think since Harry Kane they've been missing that clinical number 9?
But Dom Solanke's been scoring.
Do you think Dom will step up?
Yeah.
And
I think he has
those numbers though.
Yeah, but I think he has. I don't think that's the problem at Tottenham. I think when people talk about Tottenham, and if you talk about chances created and the centre forward, I don't think that's the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is conceding goals. It's both sides of the game. But I think Dom Solanke started slow. You're not going to compare Dom Solanke with Harry Kane. You're not going to compare it, because Harry was a completely different player to Dom Solanke, because you talk about goals and assists.
But do you think you can fill those boots like within the next couple of seasons? I'm not saying scoring 30 goals a season.
Yeah, but that's like me saying, I don't know, that for instance, I don't know, is like, I don't know, you can talk about any club. You can talk about Højlund at Man United and that. You can talk about like different. I know Dom's saying Harry Kane is the same era sort of thing and that, but like I'm not going to say Højlund is going to be the same as Ruud van Nistelrooy, or he's going to be like. Do you get what I'm saying? And
I understand. Yeah.
Sometimes people like, instead of always comparing players, I think just try and allow that player to sort of like have his time. Dom Solanke started slow and then started to score goals, big goals as well.
Yeah, of course.
But the goals the goals wasn't enough, because we're just conceding at the other end. Too many goals. Just became too easy to play against.
Well, you speak about like, leaking goals out of the back, and football can be a tough game for football managers. Do you think Ange sort of has like a pass this year due to the injury crisis that Spurs have had with, especially Romero, Van de Ven?
Yeah.
You do think it would be harsh if the hierarchy from now until the end of the season were to be like, Ange, you're done, mate?
But I think it's harsh. No, I don't think it's harsh, because I would like to see it happen, because you never want to see managers get sacked. Yeah. I won't look at it and be like, that's harsh, because if it was in the top 4, then that's harsh, because why are you sacking a manager if in the top 4? But if you're 14th or 15th in the Premier League and you're Tottenham and you shouldn't be there, everyone knows that, then I wouldn't think, that's harsh.
But even with the injuries,
but what I'm saying, I won't think it's harsh. But what I'm saying is I would say that, you know what, maybe allow the injuries to come back, and then judge him on that. Because when you talk about the injuries, you're talking about players that actually start in the 11.
Yeah.
And the teams that I played in, when I was playing that, and if there was periods where, say, I don't know, Gomez, the goalkeeper, was injured, and then Ledley King's injured, Michael Dawson's injured, then you look at the midfield, Luka Modric's injured, Gareth Bale's injured, Aaron Lennon's injured, I'm injured, and Crouch is injured.
Yeah.
Then you look at that, you think, then other players got to come into the team. Good players, but they're just sort of like they're not match fit.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they're not playing, then of course it's going to be difficult. You know, I know other teams have managed to do it, like Bournemouth had their injuries. No, other teams managed to do it and that. But when you look at the injuries, it'll be hard for any manager.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's harsh, but at the same time, you just wouldn't. Of course, you wouldn't want to see it happen.
You mentioned Højlund there, and I want to talk about Xerxes as well. Manchester United, as we know over the last decade, have been a shadow of what they are. But if you being like a former number 9, do you have a bit of sympathy for those two?
Because they're not getting chances, though. They're not getting chances. If you look at the analysis and you look at Man United, you see the way they play. They're not really. There's times where I watch Man United, I'm like, they don't even look like scoring. Against Tottenham recently, Garnacho had the chance where he skied it over the bar, and you think when you get chances like when you're not really creating chances, you're not scoring a lot of goals, and you do get those chances, those moments, you have to take them. You have to take them because you're not a team that creates a lot of chances, and it's quite mad sitting there now talking about a Man United team struggling to create chances and score goals, because over the years, it's like, I mean, I played against some of the best Man United teams that never had that problem.
Do you think it's off the field noise though could be affecting them as well?
Affected who?
The players, because obviously,
but it's part and parcel though. Like,
it's part and
like,
parcel.
it was worse back then.
Yeah,
Only because of social media now.
No, but I'm thinking with like everything that's going on with like Ratcliffe at the same time.
But it doesn't matter. No, you can't get distracted as players. There's times where you have problems within maybe sometimes family. You can't get distracted. You have to focus on your bread and butter, focus on your football, focus on training every day, working hard, improving, focusing on what you're good at, and taking responsibility. You can't have excuses, and I think there's always going to be noise. I played in clubs where there was always noise in the background, but at the same time, it's always important for me to focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know what? Focus on what's in front of me the next game. But of course, you would love to see these players score goals. Xerxes, and I mean, what game was it? Newcastle, when he got dragged after 30 minutes or something like that, and I was like, that's going to be difficult for him to recover. He showed character. He came back. Can't remember what game it was. He came on a sub and he had energy, and I thought, do you know what? That's good.
Well, I mean, the first game of the season when he played against Fulham,
Højlund's gone how many games without scoring? 15, 16, 17. Like, when you go through that many games without scoring, it's almost like you're not even looking forward to the next game.
Yeah.
You're not looking forward to the next chance, but you think, instead of thinking, right, bang, I'm going to score, you're thinking, I hope I don't miss. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, being next centre forward, it's difficult to see players go through that spell where they're not scoring goals. So many games, but then all you got to do is get one, because once you get one, they just follow. It's crazy.
You loved your time up in Rangers, Celtic Rangers.
Yeah.
It's so big. The rivalry is huge, but Rangers, even though at this time of recording second in the table,
might as well come last.
Yeah, how far are they from really competing with Celtic at this point?
Well, obviously, it's obviously for me it's hard to see, because obviously I was at the club and we won the league when Stevie was there, and then Stevie left. I think I left the club at the time, and then the Europa League final come so close, lost on penalties. Then after that, I thought, you know what, the club would kick on now. Would kick on and try and dominate in terms of the league, because like I said, if you come second, that's like coming last up there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's
12 teams in the table.
Mate, that's the demand. It's like it's crazy. Even we played against Real Madrid pre-season. It's Real Madrid's second team, but it's still Real Madrid. Remember pre-season against Ibrox and that, and then it's like, no, you have to. It doesn't matter if we're playing Real Madrid. We're at Ibrox. This is Rangers, the best. This is the best club in the world. We have to win. Yeah. The most league titles and all that sort of stuff. So that was sort of like the demand in that. But as players, you love it. But when things ain't going well, similar to Man United, the shirt's heavy, and the fans let you know. And with the manager, obviously, the game the other day against St Mirren, losing at home in that manner, I just knew. Right, because the stadium was empty.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like, it's something that I never saw that. I've never seen that before. Like, never seen it. Even after the game, the streets are packed. You can't even get out and go home. It's mad, honestly. So to see that, it was hard to see, like, to the club sort of like going backwards. But hopefully now, it was just going one direction.
To England, Thomas Tuchel soon will be taking charge of England for the first time. Excited?
Yeah, I think you have to be excited. I think you just have to support him, because when you think about, cup competitions, he's good. You talk about cup competitions, and Gareth done an amazing job and got us sort of there. but just couldn't get over the line for whatever reason. But so close, and hopefully, you know, with Thomas Tuchel now coming in, like he's the man to sort of like get us over the line with his experience and that sort of like that know-how to, you know, win cup competitions. And I mean, if it happens, then it'll be amazing. I know a lot of people saying about the England manager being English and stuff like that.
Do you have an issue of him being like
German? Because I played under Sven.
Yeah.
And as a player, not once did I ever, Fabio Capello, but not once did I ever think, oh, do you know what? Capello's Italian. Like, I just thought, this is Fabio Capello. Like, this guy's coming with this like this presence and like his CV spoke for itself, and the players and the clubs that he'd managed. I thought this is the best man, one of the best out there. So, you know, hopefully, like we can win on with him in charge and that and stuff like that. And it's the same with Thomas Tuchel. I remember I was in Tottenham academy coaching for 2 years, and before Ange got the job, I had a conversation with some of the coaches and that, and we were actually saying, "Oh, if we got Thomas Tuchel here, because we'd heard that he's in terms of his detail and his coaching." Like even when you speak to Harry, his sessions and the detail that he gives the players and the energy and what he brings to the job, he said it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's what they say. Like, so, like, who else is out there? He's the best out there. He's the best that's available. So yeah.